in Ghana, we do not tax savings. There is no tax in Ghana that is imposed on savings. But this E-Levy we are talking about will be imposed on people's savings if it is approved. And I don't see how anybody with a conscience can defend such a tax. You want to approve a tax that will be imposed on savings? Since the implementation of the Economic Recovery Program in 1983, has there been any such tax in Ghana? That mere people, for merely deciding to save your own money, you pay a tax on savings. Is there any tax like that in Ghana? Look, your mobile money is like the wallet in your pocket. That is why it is called e-wallet. So now you understand. It is called e-wallet. It is just like your wallet or your handbag or your purse. It is like your bank account. Now, that system for saving money has now been made easy for you as a result of digitalization, such that you now have this purse or wallet on your phone. So you are able to save money on your Momo account on your phone. Now, Senna, if you are paid by Mr. Pratt today, say an amount of 5,000 Ghana cedis, and you decide to save that money under your pillow in your house, will you be charged a tax? If you are paid 5,000 Ghana cedis today and you decide to save it in your wallet or your purse or your bag, will you be charged a tax? Will you be charged a tax? No. If you are paid 5,000 cedis today, for example, and you decide to deposit it in your savings account, will you be charged a tax? No, you don't pay a tax on savings. So why is it that with this obnoxious E-Levy that our friends in the MPP are fighting tooth and nail to impose on already suffering Ghanaians, you will be charged a tax of 1.75% if you decide to save your own money on your Momo wallet, your e-wallet. If I am paid 5,000 Ghana cedis today and I decide to upload that money on my Momo wallet to save it, I will be charged a tax of 1.75% E-Levy, what I call Bawumia tax, for deciding to save that money. Don't laugh, he's the head of the economic management team and the paragon of your so-called digitalization agenda. And we understand that he is the one who mooted this idea. You understand? So why must people be charged a tax for saving money? Any government that imposes a tax on savings is a wicked, callous, dubious government. That is not taxation, that is stealing from the people. That's number one. Again, Senna, in Ghana, we do not tax investments. We do not tax capital. If you are paid 5,000 Ghana cedis by Mr. Pratt, today, for example, and you decide to save that money, in Ghana, under our current tax regime, you won't pay any tax for saving. If you decide to also invest that money as your capital into any business, you will not be charged any tax on that investment or on your capital. It is when you have invested the money into a business, made profit out of that business, that you will pay income tax. You understand? And so if you have an E-Levy, which will be imposed on capital, so that, for example, if I want to transfer money, I deal in, say, commodities, and I want to import, say, rice from Vietnam, and I am doing a bank transfer to my suppliers in Vietnam or Thailand, say a transfer of 1 million Ghana cedis, this insensitive, callous government will charge you an E-Levy Bawumia tax of 1.75% on that capital you are investing. The reasonable thing for you to do is to allow the person to make that imputation, come and sell the goods, so that you charge the person tax on that, because there will be tariff, import duty, there will be VAT on top of it, and that business will pay a tax on their earnings or on their incomes. But simply transferring your investment or your capital should not attract a tax in any serious jurisdiction. So why are our friends in the MPP fighting tooth and nail? Why are they hell-bent on introducing a tax which will be imposed on people's capitals, people's investments? when we do not have any such regime in the country. That cannot be a tax. That is stealing, simplicity. Number 3, in Ghana, you see, I can't say something. They say that, say, come the war, to wait. If you are hungry, it doesn't mean that when you are giving food, you should eat with both hands. You understand? So the fact that government needs money for developmental projects doesn't mean that you should be taxing everything, including what you cannot tax. In Ghana, nobody pays a tax for withdrawing their own money from their bank account. If you have your own money in your savings account and you're going to withdraw it, are you charged a tax for withdrawing money? Is that an economic activity that brings you any income? No. You are simply withdrawing your own money. Why must a tax be imposed on you? Yet this E-Levy that our brother claims to be the panacea to all the problems confronting this country, a brilliant solution to our problems, will be imposed on withdrawals. If this obnoxious E-Levy is approved, and you decide to go to your bank's ATM machine to withdraw money with your ATM card, you pay an E-Levy on that withdrawal, on that transaction. If this E-Levy is approved in this current form, and you decide to withdraw money from your own Momo wallet, it is your own money that you saved on your e-wallet, just like the purse in your pocket. For withdrawing money on your own wallet, you pay an E-Levy of 1.75%. Why must we be imposing taxes on savings, on capital and investments, cut taxes on withdrawals? It's so absurd, so unconscionable. It's the rationale for this E-Levy tax that it will even be imposed on non-taxable funds. You know that in Ghana, the incomes of cocoa farmers is not taxable. So now you know that. And you know that currently, Cocoa Board is rolling out a cocoa digitalization project in which cocoa farmers, contrary to previous practice where they were paid in cash, are now being paid digitally through their Momo wallets, as part of efforts to promote the building of a cashless society and all that. Do you know that if this E-Levy, obnoxious E-Levy policy is approved, such payments to cocoa farmers which are not taxable will be subject to the obnoxious E-Levy? No, I was very quiet when you were speaking. And as a regular panelist on... No. Let me finish so that...
Because corporate payments of salaries will not be charged. So I just wanted to...
We are not talking about corporate payment of salaries.
But this cocoa thing is corporate.
How is it corporate? What is corporate about? So a cocoa farmer who goes to sell, say, the bags of cocoa that he has produced from his farm, and he's supposed to be paid through Momo, or he's paid through Momo. How are you going to distinguish between that Momo transaction and other Momo transaction? How are you going to do that?
Yeah,
obviously to be subject to that. Please, no.
It is in the bill. So let me
be subject to that.
Let's be clear.
No. Which aspect of the bill?
Go to the bill.
Which aspect of the bill says that the incomes of cocoa farmers is exempt? Because I've read the bill and the memorandum.
When corporate is making payments to entities, when it's a corporation that
is that the bill before you?
I have part of it here. And that is, these are the things that we need to be clear about.
If that's
show us that relevant portion.
Can you let
because I've read the bill and I've not seen what you're talking about. So if I can move on.
Okay, I'll let you go. I'll make those clarifications. Very important.
The E-Levy,
very important.
You are not clarifying anything at all if this is all you have to say, because we have all read the bill you're talking about and its accompanying memorandum. No such exception has been made. We've been told by the finance minister that the E-Levy will be applied electronically. Yeah. The E-Levy will be applied, number one, on Momo transactions above 100 Ghana cedis, on inward remittances, that is, even Ghanaians in the diaspora or people in the diaspora, people outside Ghana who send monies to loved ones in Ghana. Such monies, whether they are sent through MoneyGram or Western Union, will attract a 1.75% E-Levy. Then we are told that this tax will also be applied on bank transfers. We have also been told that it will be applied on merchant payments and all electronic transactions. You understand? And so I'll be happy if you can show me which parts of the bill make such exemptions. At least that would be one good thing about the bill. Okay, but it is a fact that This E-Levy, if approved, will be applied or imposed on savings, on capital and investments, and on withdrawals. And that is not supposed to be the case. For example, if national service personnel are paid their allowances, or students are paid their allowances, and they, after receiving those allowances, decide to upload these monies or deposit these monies into their mobile money wallets, what system are you going to design to exempt such monies? You can say that if the monies are being paid to them through their bank accounts or through their Momo wallets directly, you will not impose a tax. But after the person withdraws the money, if the person decides to send this non-taxable allowance to a loved one, or to save this non-taxable allowance on their mobile money, how are you going to prevent the imposition or avoid the imposition of the E-Levy on such funds? Are you getting the point I'm making? So this E-Levy, the very nature of it, the rationale for it, runs contrary to our tax regime. That is why I maintain that it is not a tax, but theft. You see, another thing about this E-Levy that simply doesn't make sense is how unfair this so-called tax is. You see, one of the principles of taxation, Sena, is the principle of equity and fairness. Taxes must be equitable. So, currently, if you buy goods from a supermarket, or you go and buy food from a restaurant, and you decide to pay for those goods with cash, will you be charged a tax for that cash payment? What you are paying for already would have included VAT and other taxes. Okay? Now I'm saying that for deciding to pay for that food or for those purchase items with, say, check or cash, will you be charged a tax on that medium of payment? Will you be charged a tax for paying for those items with cash or with check? The answer is no. So why must you be charged a tax for paying for the price of purchase items through Momo? We are two people, we go to the shopping mall to shop, we buy items. One person decides to pay by cash. Another person decides to say, okay, I want to help Ghana to build a cashless society. I want to go digital, like Dr. Bawumia, and so I will pay through my Momo. The one who pays by cash is not charged any tax on that medium of payment. The one who pays by check is not charged any tax on that medium of payment. Yet the one who pays by Momo will be charged a tax on that medium of payment. How fair, how equitable is this tax? Then another aspect of this E-Levy is how it involves double and multiple taxations. And we need to explain these things for the ordinary man watching us this morning to understand. Our tax regime in this country, let's get it clear, frowns on multiple taxation. And that is the case in other jurisdictions that I know of. Double and multiple taxations is a no-no in any advanced jurisdiction. But you have this E-Levy, which our brothers in the MPP are seeking so desperately to impose on Ghanaians. Okay? Fashioned in a way that will lead to many cases of multiple taxation. I will explain this to you. If you receive your salary, that salary would have been taxed already because you would have paid income tax, personal income tax on that salary. Now, if you decide to save that salary on your Momo, you will pay a 1.75% E-Levy.
No.
Yes, you will pay. Because you have already been paid your salary. You have withdrawn that salary from your bank account. No. You have already paid a tax on that salary. Okay, if you now decide to put that salary on your Momo for ease of living, you will pay a tax. If you are saying no, how are you going to exclude such payments? How will you know that this money is salary? It's a salary of somebody and has already been taxed. You will pay. That is double taxation.
I'll clarify after.
Again, there is nothing to clarify. We have listened to these issues, okay? and explanations by government spokespersons, including the finance minister. We've listened to the finance minister on this, and he has not even been able to clarify this. And you say you will clarify?
Oh, you relax, finish.
So when you are when I'm depositing money on my Momo wallet, so how are you going to exempt that money? How will you know that this money that Sammy Gyamfi is depositing on his money is salary that has already been taxed? How are you going to do it? Well, I'll be happy to hear what you have to say about that.
I'll wait for you.
Then there is another form of multiple taxation that this E-Levy, will lead to, that I need to explain. You see, when you go to the supermarket, like I give you the supermarket example, or a restaurant, and you are given a bill, there are taxes imposed on that bill already. VAT and all that. COVTVG and all that. Everything is there. When you decide to pay for that thing with Momo or with your card, this government will charge you a 1.75% E-Levy Bawumia tax, even though what you are paying for has already been taxed. So that is another form of double and multiple taxation. Then there is another form of it that I need to bring to your attention, Sena. You see, anyone, and here I will just use mobile money, anyone who does a Momo transfer or a Momo transaction is charged a fee. For example, if you decide to transfer 1,000 Ghana cedis through your MTN Momo account, you will be charged a fee of 10 Ghana cedis by MTN. Now that fee you are charged technically is a levy, and so it is a tax you are paying. It's a levy you are paying to MTN, you understand, or to that telco, that service provider, who has given you that platform. Now that telco also pays taxes on those collections, those fees that they have already levied you. So when you pay 10 CD fee to MTN for sending 1,000 Ghana cedis through your Momo account, you have already paid the fee of 10 cedis, and MTN will pay a tax on that to the government of Ghana. So you are already paying a tax indirectly to government. Why must you be charged? Why must government, which has provided you no service, the telco is right to take a fee of 10 Ghana cedis, okay, because they are giving you that platform. Alhaji Bawumi has not given you any platform. He has not rendered you any service. And he says, even though I'm going to take my tax from that fee, I will still come to you, the consumer, and take from you 1.75% of the value of the money you sent on that platform. Does this make sense? That is another form of double and multiple taxation. But Sena, you see, the point has to be made that what this government is seeking to do with this E-Levy in Ghana has never been tried anywhere in Africa. I've done my research, okay? And if you look at countries who have tried this E-Levy,
Kenya, Uganda.
No, the Kenya and the Tanzania E-Levies are different from what you're doing. In Tanzania and in Kenya, the E-Levy is a 10% charge on the fees you pay to the service providers. So when MTN charges you, for example, 10 Ghana cedis on every 1,000 Ghana cedis you send, the government will be taking 10% of that money as tax from MTN. That is the system in Kenya and Tanzania. If that is what you are seeking to do in Ghana, I'm not sure that it would have generated the current controversy that is raging in Parliament. You are not charging or imposing the levy on the fees. You want to impose it on the transaction amount. That is the difference. But if you check Cameroon, they have done something assumptions. They couldn't realize them because people abandoned these platforms when those governments decided to introduce such punitive, regressive taxes. It has never worked anywhere. And no government has even dared to dream about imposing more than a 1% E-Levy. When Uganda tried 1%, the people forced them to bring it down to 0.5. And even that is crashing their digitalization, efforts and their mobile money industry. Is this what you want to copy? And even if you are copying, won't you copy it right? You, instead of doing something like 0.20, you want to do 1.75%. What? Now, that aside, is the issue of the timing of this tax, Sena. The timing of this tax is very important. I'm sure you have cited the latest report that has been issued by the Ghana Statistical Service, which says that Ghanaians are recording significant declines in household incomes. Household incomes have come down significantly post-COVID. The reality is that people are suffering, and I'm telling you that the suffering is not less, the suffering is more. And that is why today there are agitations from different workers. UTAG is on strike, TEWU is on strike, CROSSAG is on strike, CTAG is on strike. Everyone is agitating because of their deteriorating purchasing power, deteriorating incomes and all that. Only last year, the price of a gallon of diesel and petrol went up by almost 9 Ghana cedis. Unprecedented in the history of this country. Look at the exchange rate. Today you need about 6 cedis, 50 pesos to get a dollar. Look at how that is impacting on prices of imported commodities. So this is not the time for you to be introducing a tax like this, which will only escalate the hardships Ghanaians are already experiencing if you are a sensitive government. And quite apart from that, you have already imposed taxes on the Ghanaian people as a result of COVID. Okay? Last year in 2021 alone, you introduced a 1% COVID levy on VAT. Increase it from 3% to 4%. You introduce another COVID levy of 1% on NHIL, which is another indirect tax, which all of us, including the poorest of the poor, pays, increasing it from 2.5% to 3.5%. Not to talk of the many fuel taxes you introduced last year. A baller tax, sanitation levy of 10 pesos per liter of diesel and petrol, a 20 pesos energy sector levy on every liter of diesel and petrol, 18 pesos energy sector levy on every kilogram of LPG and all that. And not to talk of all the taxes you had already introduced under your first term. So please, people are suffering. This is not the time for this E-Levy. And this excuse that, we are introducing E-Levy because of COVID-19. It's neither here nor there. You know why? Because the net effect of COVID-19 on government's revenue has been zilch. Very insignificant. In 2019, before COVID, total tax revenue for Ghana was 43 billion cedis. 2019 before COVID, total tax revenue of 43 billion. 2020 COVID year, tax revenue of 45.3 billion. We actually exceeded our target to go 45.3 billion. More tax revenue in 2020 than 2019 before COVID. In 2021, only last year, government projected tax revenue of 55 billion. Not that before COVID, we got tax revenue of 43 billion. 2021, 2 years after, projection of 55 billion. We have again exceeded our tax revenue. So what are you talking about? You are the only country in Africa that has introduced a COVID levy, not 1, 2, because of COVID-19. Yet this COVID-19 has given you so much money that you have wasted on corruption and other wasteful expenditures. In total, Senna, this government has had over 32 billion from COVID-19 alone. $2 billion, 32 billion cedis. $2 billion from the IMF, $100 million grant from the World Bank, 20 billion cedis from the Central Bank, and so on and so forth. You've wasted all this. So you can't blame your woes on COVID. And assuming without admitting that COVID is the reason, because of COVID, the economy has suffered. That also means that because of COVID, the people have suffered. And so what any reasonable government would do would be to provide relief for the people and businesses who are suffocating because of the debilitating impact of COVID-19. Then this emotional blackmail that Honorable Adomakun was engaging, that we need to pay E-Levy because government has spent money on roads, on free SHS. Free SHS is funded by oil revenue. This E-Levy will not be used for free SHS. You see, now this government is creating the impression that E-Levy will be the solution to all our problems. E-Levy is only projected to give you only 6.9 billion. What can 6.9 billion do? You are talking about hospitals. If you need hospitals, pay E-Levy. The Agric Minister says that if you need fertilizer, as farmers, pay E-Levy. If you need roads, pay What is this whole deception about? You know that even this 6.9 billion revenue projection, you may not even get. Yeah. And even when you get it, there is a limit to what it can do. Absolutely. Look, in only 4.5 years, you have increased the public debt by 230 billion and over. That's how much you have borrowed and added to our public debt. You've not built one secondary school with 230 billion. You've not built any meaningful roads with 230 billion. And you claim 6.2 billion will do this whole magic of turning everything around. Look at this issue of job creation, which they are tying to this E-Levy. Pay E-Levy so that we'll create jobs for you. Senna, government has told us that their job creation agenda for 2022 is an entrepreneurship program called YouStart, right? And they have allocated 1 billion Ghana cedis for that. If you check Appendix 4B of the 2022 budget statement, out of the 6.9 billion cedis revenue they are projecting to rake in from E-Levy, only 385 million cedis, representing 5%, has been dedicated or allocated to the YouStart program. Only 5% of what you are projecting to get from the E-Levy has been allocated for YouStart. The rest of the money, they claim that they will get it from donors. And he is here preaching about Ghana beyond aid. And oh, did I hear him say that we should pay E-Levy so that we will stop borrowing? It looks like Honorable Adomako has not read their own budget. Because in the 2022 budget, you are projecting to borrow another 37 billion. 37 billion in 2022. And you are projecting to issue Euro bonds to the tune of 4.5 billion. This E-Levy, listen, the main rationale for this E-Levy is to just give government some comfort to borrow more. Give them the means to assure investors that, oh, we can now generate enough revenue to pay our debt and borrow more. Look, the investors have lost confidence in us. No wonder Ken Oforiatta says the economy will collapse if we don't get this E-Levy. Nobody wants to lend to us, and even when people want to lend to us, the interest rates are so high because they have lost confidence in the economy, and they've lost confidence because you have mismanaged the economy. As a result of your recklessness in 2020 alone, that election year, we recorded an unprecedented budget deficit of 15.6%. Meaning that you so overspent that you had to borrow to increase the public debt. That is what is catching up with you. And you must be ready to face the full consequences of that. And you see, if you have created a mess through reckless expenditure, reckless borrowing, spending money on hyper-expensive, luxurious private jets, living large like a Russian oligarch, like an Arabian king, throwing fanciful parties, drinking expensive hard liquors, okay, and wasting the taxpayers' money like that. You cannot turn around and come and say, oh, pay E-Levy or else our economy will collapse. It will collapse on your head. And Ghanaians will hold you responsible for that. And so, I know time is fast spent. In conclusion, what I want to say is that this E-Levy we are talking about is nothing but theft. And we all, as citizens of this country, have a duty to resist it with all our might. We have a duty to resist it with the last drop of our blood. The gallant 137 NDC members of parliament are doing their best. But whichever way it goes in parliament, we the people have a responsibility to ensure that even if they have their way in parliament, we together will stand up and fight this E-Levy and kill this killer E-Levy. We must not pay this E-Levy. There is no justification for it. This government is the most luckiest and the most resourced government in the history of Ghana. They've had more taxes than any government in the history of this country. President Mahama in 4 years had tax revenue of 86 billion. They in 4 years, excluding 2021, had 156 billion in tax revenue. With regards to oil revenue, in 4 years, we got 6 billion in oil revenue under the Mahama administration. They, in 4 years, excluding 2021, has had 20 billion. They borrowed more than all governments from Nkrumah to President Mahama put together. Yet, they have no hospital to show for it, whether district hospital or regional hospital, no completed and operationalized secondary school to show for it, no investments in roads, no investments in the productive sectors of the economy, no investments in jobs. They've wasted all this money on sewa broni and parties and ostentatious living. And you want us to pay this tax which doesn't even make sense. Well, let me conclude with a few alternatives for them, because anytime you speak like this, they ask you for your alternatives. Number one, we have told you that if you cut down on the profligacy, the wasteful expenditures, you'll be able to make savings that may not even make this tax necessary, and you know that. Number two, if you tax down on corruption and financial irregularities in the public sector, this E-Levy will not even become necessary, because you do know that in 2020, according to the Auditor General, we lost a whopping 12.8 billion to corruption and financial sector, financial irregularities in the public sector, 12.8 billion. Yet you are chasing 6.9 billion. through this draconian E-Levy. If you had protected the public purse and cut down on corruption even by half, like you promised in opposition, this tax would not have been necessary. But if all these alternatives are not even good for you, look at our tax exemption regime. Look at the millions, the tax exemptions worth billions of cedis that we grant to multinationals every year. What are the savings we can make in that area? Okay, and then after exploring all these other alternatives, you are still desperate and frustrated. You still want to impose this E-Levy. Then impose it the right way. Copy the Kenya or Tanzania example. Look at the fees we are already paying to the service providers. And if you want to impose a tax on those fees, you can engage them and explore that possibility. But taxing savings, taxing capital, taxing withdrawals, taxing non-taxable funds and all that is not the sensible way to go about this. And this your patapa lifestyle, okay? Trying to bulldoze your way through parliament, trying to bend the rules and all that. Our MPs have started the do or die agenda for 2024. That one, it will not happen. The numbers game will not favor you because we are better organized, and we will match you boot for boot if you try to bend the rules. Okay? We are all for consensus, but don't come to the negotiation table with any entrenched positions. What is wrong with the E-Levy is not the tax rate of 1.75%. What is wrong with it is its very nature and essence and rationale. Okay. Think about that. Come up with something more practical where maybe we may decide to cooperate with you, even though we never enjoyed any such.
To cooperate.
Maybe, who knows? If you bring such a reasonable alternative to the table in the interest of the nation, we may decide to consider it. Okay, even though we never enjoyed any such reasonable cooperation from you. So this is where I will leave it, Sena. We must all work together as citizens of this country, irrespective of our political backgrounds, to kill this killer E-Levy. It is not a tax, it is theft.
There are so many messages that has been coming in, but I have to go to Mr. Pratt because of time. Doc has given me a document from the Act, the bill. And Doc, the transfers are not covered. The following transfers are not covered: cumulative transfer of 100 Ghana cedis per day made by the same person, transfer between accounts owned by the same person, transfer for the payment of taxes, fees, and charges on Ghana.gov platform, electronic clearing of checks, specified merchant payments, and transfers between principal agent and master agent accounts.
What I said.
So when I go to ShopRite, and I pay, I won't be paying 1.75.
So which one?
Which exception does it?
It's a merchant.
No.
It's a merchant.
Transfers between
Specified merchant payments.
Specified.
Yes, and they will qualify. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
But merchant payments are part of this tax. You pay.
Okay. You pay.
Please.
Mr. Price, you pay 1.75.
You are misinforming the Ghanaian public. You are not even communicating.
So let's hear from Mr.
Very important.
Master, all of these facts that are being debated by my brother Sammy and my grandson Honorable, they are important. They paint a certain picture for us and so on. But at the bottom of it, that is not the most important thing. The most important thing is that when this government was seeking our mandate, they told us that taxing Momo transactions is a sin against the poor. I didn't say it. His Excellency Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Vice President, he looked all of us in the face and he said, this offended E-Levy is a crime against the poor. What has changed? What has changed now? 5 years later, what has changed? I mean, that's the issue. Forget everything else. The thing that they told us is a crime against the poor is what they are implementing. The other day, I saw them at a town hall meeting jumping over themselves to justify E-Levy. And I'm sitting at home watching television, and the question I was asking was that, look, so all these people who are justifying E-Levy, when Bawumia was campaigning and saying that it is a crime, what did they say? Their sitting vice president, who wants to become president, said it is a crime. It's a sin against the poor. What has changed? That's all, Master. Why throw figures about? The people who are implementing E-Levy today, 5 years ago, they told us that anybody who is dreaming about implementing an E-Levy is a criminal. They said it. 5 years ago, they said anybody who wants to implement E-Levy wants to commit a crime against poor people. So 5 years later, when they come and say we want to implement the thing that we say is a crime against the poor, ask them what has changed. Let them explain what has changed. That's what the matter is solved. Simple, straightforward, no wahala, no problem. Doctor, can you explain what has changed?
Yeah.
It was a crime. So now it's no longer a crime against the poor.
Finish, I'll come.
So don't worry your head. Don't go into what is tax, what is not tax, and so on. I won't go there. It's not necessary. You see, for me, what is important? And Bawumia was right 5 years ago. Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Excellency Bawumia, he was completely right 5 years ago when he says it's a crime. You know why it's a crime? Because this tax, if you want to pay your tax, and what betides you, you pay your tax using electronic means, they tax you more. So you pay double tax.
I think it's exempted.
How is it exempted?
Because there's the law says transfers for the payment of taxes, fees, and charges on the Ghana.
Let's get the difference. That is when you are paying on the government's e-Gov platform. But if you are paying through Momo, like Mr. Pratt is saying, how would the Momo vendor or how would the system be able to detect that this one is being used? No, what system?
It is going to be made that way.
No, I mean once it goes into law, and that is why I was trying to help you.
I beg, I want to.
But Mepacho is exempted.
You are saying that it is going to be made that way.
If I'm paying to SNIT,
what mechanism are you going to use?
The account. It's just like
you see, there is an e-government pay platform.
Let me clarify.
If you are using that platform, it
Yes, you're making it more for me. It was so simple. Now you are complicating it.
When you are paying your SNIT contributions by Momo, you would not pay.
The man is talking about taxes. You're talking about SNIT.
No, yeah, I mean, well, SNIT those governmental instruments, you not pay 1.75, and that is the way it's been made.
Take your time.
Yeah.
I'm going to pay my SNIT contribution.
Yeah.
I'm going to pay whatever for which I'm exempted. You must have an application, a system, which will be able to distinguish between such payments and payments.
It has been created.
Where?
and that is why I was trying to, sort of educate us that you will not be paying those additional fees. And like I was very clear to you that
writing it on a piece of paper.
It is included. It is included.
That is only when you are using the government's approved payment platform. That is what they are saying. That is what is here.
Master, I beg you. Okay, no problem.
The charging entity. It is here.
Okay.
Look at it.
Okay.
It is. Look at it.
Okay, Master, no problem.
Yeah.
No problem. I'm not going to pass it to you about that.
Yeah, so. And these are the misperceptions.
No problem. No, it is not a misconception.
Perception.
VAT is chargeable on some services and some goods. VAT. So I'm paying VAT already. What between me if I go and do that payment with electronic transaction? I pay double. That's what are you going to argue?
Fact.
Are you going to argue on that one too, Massa?
I think unfortunately the town hall made this clear that there are vendors that will be exempted from the 1.75 and it is specialized.
I have Momo on my phone.
Yes.
I am going to buy milk. Hold on. I have Momo on my phone. I'm going to buy milk. A milk that data.
Pardon my use of ShopRite. The reason why I said ShopRite, institutions that are paying appropriate taxes to the government.
Supermarkets. Don't limit it to ShopRite.
So let me say,
how many people in Ghana are buying for supermarkets, doctor? Doctor, how many people in Ghana are buying for supermarkets?
But
how do you make things so complicated for everybody?
I'm making that it's a very important clarification.
You see, you are not, Mr. Just a second. What I'm saying is captured on the paper.
My main point is made already. Okay. All the others are tangential. The main point is that you told us
it's a crime.
That taxing Momo is a crime.
Yes, that's what
it's a sin against the poor.
Yes.
If you are bringing tax on Momo, come and show me why it is no longer a sin against the poor. Finish.
And this Bawumia said in August 2020 on Peace FM. The records are there. But let me draw your attention to something.
I won't say anymore. The rest is not important.
The exemptions. Number 3, transfers for the payment of taxes, fees and charges on the Ghana.gov platform. So that's what I'm saying, that if you are paying the taxes on this platform, it will be exempt. But if you are paying it using your Momo, like Mr. Pratt is saying, you will pay the tax. Where? Specified merchant payments. He's talking about using his Momo to pay a tax. You're talking about what has that got to do with merchant payments? What has that got to do with merchant payments?
Explain to you.
You see, you want to take over the job of the finance minister.
If you go to like DVLA,
if you buy your meat from ShopRite, you won't pay tax. How many people buy meat from ShopRite?
But it is not even true that if you buy anything you buy, you pay tax on it.
It is true. If you go and buy your kakro from ShopRite, you won't pay tax.
If you go to Mamobi Market and Makola,
ShopRite doesn't sell kakro.
Please, one very, very important.
And you decide to pay by Momo because now all these shops they have Momo numbers.
Company, and you want to pay salaries through Momo, you will not be your employees will not be charged the 1.75.
No, that's true. But after hold on. After the person receives his or her salary, and the person decides to save that salary on his Momo wallet, you'll be charged an E-Levy. True or false?
If they pay you to your account,
yes,
your Momo account,
yes,
there's no payment.
And I'm going further.
You are going to
use the money. I want to save it on my Momo
and buy. To go and buy cooking oil. My brother, after that, you are going to use that Momo account to go and buy cooking oil.
Yes.
Would you not be charged?
Boss, listen, if I am paid 5,000 cedis a month into my bank account, or into my Momo account, okay?
You'll not be charged.
And I withdraw that money. Okay, and later decide to upload the same money on my Momo account. It is not the payment of salary again. It is a Momo transaction. I'll pay a tax on that. If I decide to transfer that money, 1,000 Ghana cedis of that already tax money, to my mother in Sunyane to buy medicine, that 1,000 cedis will attract a tax. And if I decide to transfer 500 out of that to my brother to buy books in school, that 500 cedis will attract an E-Levy tax. Please, this tax is indefensible. It's unconscionable. Don't take upon you this Herculean task, okay, of trying to defend the indefensible.
I'm just trying to make
you know in your heart of hearts, sitting here, that this tax is not good for the people of this country, including your constituents. Don't defend everything and anything in the name of politics.
I'm only doing clarification.
I think that members of parliament should be very careful. This morning, since we came here, at least there have been 2 text messages from your constituency. Telling you that they voted for you, and that if you go and vote for this tax, you are voting against their interest. You should be very careful. I know as a fact that there was not a survey. This one is Philly. They put a boxes down. In Norton, go and check. And ask the people of the constituency to vote on E-Levy.
Yeah.
98% voted against E-Levy. 98%. So, Honorable Okudeto Ablakwa, who is MP for Norton, if he is sensible, when he is voting in Parliament, he will take account of that. All the surveys I've seen, there is no survey I've seen where less than 70% of the people are against E-Levy. So if parliamentarians want to go against the wishes of the people who elected them, let them do it. Next parliament, it will be interesting to see those who will come back and those who will not come back. That's all.
In all fairness, I think that I think that more clarification is needed, because today I'm realizing that one, you're not very clear in the intricacies of this, and like I said,
but why are you dwelling on the intricacies? Why don't you dwell on the simple matters, Master? Why are you always dwelling on the intricacies? Dwell on the simple matter. Dwell on the fact that your government told us that it is a crime.
One person with this.
One person.
You know,
Hey,
I mean,
who is that one person?
And at the time, I mean, let me be quite frank. I mean, this was prior to starting government. You know, and like I've
No, that was not prior. Dr. Bawumia made that statement in August 2020.
It's okay.
I've admitted on this show that, I mean, there were some perceptions I had about government which has changed since I got into government. And that is the nature of things. When projections were made, nobody knew COVID was coming. And I've said that also here. And that has been a game changer. And I don't know how
are you drawing COVID into this?
No, I'm just saying that a lot of things have changed.
But why do you draw COVID into this? I mean, COVID is a very unfortunate.
For the next 20 years.
No, are we the only country that has experienced COVID? Has Cote d'Ivoire introduced E-Levy because of COVID?
For the next 20 years,
no matter what we live here,
there is something that I don't understand.
Yes, Daddy.
These politicians, especially those of the MPP type, they do things, you sit back and we're totally confused. You say that we need money to build roads, to create jobs, and so on. That's your argument. There is already a tax that everybody is willingly paying. Road tolls. We are not complaining. Nobody has complained. There are even some people who said that raise it a little because of the state of our roads and so we are paying. Nobody has complained. The government decides that now no road toll. Cancelled. Even without going to parliament to change the law. In violation of the law, you have cancelled road toll. So if you need so much money, why do you cancel road toll to come and impose this tax on us? It doesn't make sense.
At all.
Common sense cannot explain this. That is my problem. I'm not interested in the sophisticated things. The very simple, basic things. Why did you cancel road toll to come and impose E-Levy on us? You yourself, if you look at the figures, E-Levy, what is it going to transform?
6.9 billion.
What is it going to transform? You are administering an oil economy. You are running an economy which produces the largest amount of gold in Africa. You are sitting on an economy which produces the 5th largest amount of gold in the world. You are not seeing top. You can't see top. What will E-Levy do for you? E-Levy, which you say is a sin against poor people. It's a criminal. That is the one which will save you. Why have you stopped the road toll? If you need that much money. Master, do you understand? Common sense. So let's just use common sense. Don't allow anybody to bamboozle you with all these figures and highfalutin English and so on. Let's go back to the basic thing that all of us have. Common sense. That's all. Common sense. Oh. I mean, I've tried to apply the common sense. And I'm not convinced. My common sense is not convincing me at all on this matter. That's all.
You have a strong point. Thank you.
It's good that you have admitted that.
Well, let me read a few of the messages. I have several. And it's important that I go through some.
By the way, we are already paying so many taxes already. So the impression that if we don't pay E-Levy, nothing, we won't get any development, we won't get schools. We are paying so many taxes already. And please, in Ghana, everybody pay taxes. So if you don't pay direct taxes, at least you pay VAT, which is an indirect. Everyone pays. So don't create the impression that if we don't pay E-Levy, we can't get any development. It's not true.
Well, let me start from Komla.
So many taxes already.
Can Dr. Adumako be honest enough to also refer to his party's rejection of introduction of VAT in the past, and also tell us what they did with the monies they borrowed to justify imposition of E-Levy on us? Is it unbelievable? It is unbelievable how he is dribbling himself trying to convince us. Michael Abiemo is saying, does it mean if I decide to pay or file my tax return through Momo or e-transfer, I'll be charged?
You will not be charged.
1.75% on that amount again to the government. This is wickedness. King Farouk says, Senna, we are not calling for a reduction in the percentage of the E-Levy. We will not pay, even if they reduce it to 0.00000%. We don't even want to hear it mentioned. Scrap it entirely. That's coming from
relevant information, so that you can make this important correction. Momo tax will discourage digitization, affect the poor. Bawumia, August 26th, 2020. He was not in opposition. He had been in government for 4 years.
That was before COVID, which I
that was during COVID.
You said it was before he had the opportunity to govern. This was after he had been chair of the economic management team for 4 years.
2020, and this is April.
August 2020. That was March, 12 March 2020. And this is August 26, 2020. No.
We had come out
our
of the
first two
lockdown
cases were recorded on the 12th of March 2020.
The economic impact.
First of all, you said that he said this when he was in opposition. You've been corrected. At least.
That one. I mean,
you got it wrong.
Prior to 2020.
Please let me go through the messages. Dennis Akote, it's so sad to continue to hear the likes of Dr. Adumako blame everything about the economy on the COVID-19. Is it COVID-19 that advises government to increase Article 71 office holders' salaries by 70%?
Yes.
When that of the real workers increased by 4%, or it is COVID-19 that advises the president to be traveling in private jets at huge cost at the expense of the taxpayer in this critical moment when the ordinary Ghanaian is suffering, and you want to further burden them with E-Levy? This is not the Dr. Adumako Kisi that was projected by Panavigan TV.
COVID-19 went and rented the jet for the president. What is your problem?
Hadi in Pig Farms says an economy which have swallowed over 200 billion Ghana cedis in 5 years is now relying on E-Levy as a lifeline.
That's borrowing alone.
The only reason Anado and Baumia are bent on passing the E-Levy is to use it as collateral to borrow more for wasteful expenditure. Since the government is about to steal from our pockets in the name of E-Levy, no police officer should arrest a pickpocket who is doing same as Circle and Kijetia Market.
No, but he says something which is very profound, and which is true. They intend, after, that is if they are able to approve the E-Levy, to monetize future receipts of it for a period of minimum 7 years. So if this whole E-Levy is supposed to allow them some space to borrow more. And so should there be any new government after 2024, you'll be collecting E-Levy to pay debts. Just like they've done to Get Fund and ESLA.
Well, I should say a happy birthday to Mr. Ibrahim Mahama on his behalf. Okay, this is Godwin Akogan, who is your deputy. Says, and I kindly ask my MPP friend why Baumia is quiet on the E-Levy. Kojochu Mbuafo says, Senna, E-Levy is an expropriation, simple and short. The responsible MPP government are like Abu bin Adam, They have loaded the proverbial camel and loaded the camel and loaded the camel. They didn't hear the camel groan from the stress and strain, and in fact, they didn't care whether the camel drifted. They only began panicking after they added a straw called E-Levy and broke the camel's back. That's coming from Kojo Chumbwa for Tokochikata Sammy. You have said it all. Double taxation theory and imposing non-existent tax on citizens. In spite of the already excruciating economic hardship on Ghanaians, MPP must learn to cut their coat according to their size. Learn to make your expenditure transparent and stop the luxurious kind of lifestyle of our president. We are suffering as businessmen and citizens. Alasa Mesuna from Tema says the imposition of the E-Levy is a way to enrich some few individuals. The toll booths can give us enough money, but one may ask why the rules